Hey guys, welcome back to the loading screen. So this is my second episode in the video format, but this is probably my third episode altogether. So this is basically my video game centered show. I go over video game news, I do little mini reviews here and there, just talk things video games. So we got a few pretty cool things to talk about. This isn't going to be a very long episode, but we do have some pretty good things to talk about. So the PlayStation conference just went on, and they finally announced, which we've all been waiting for, the actual name of the PS4 Neo, which is going to be the big 4K PS4. It's called the PS4 Pro. It's going to be 4K compatible and have HDR, which is basically high dynamic range, which just means better picture, more vivid colors, everything like that. It's got a boosted CPU clock rate, a 1 terabyte hard drive, and more than double the power of the PS4's GPU. And you know, they're going to be basically having games that are going to be formatted to where they're going to be optimized for 4K, but all these games they're trying to reassure everybody are still going to be playable on the regular PS4. That it's not going to be used to their full potential on your TV screen if you don't have a 4K and a PS4 Pro. And they're supposed to be releasing like a lot of ways for you to transfer easily. If you do buy a PS4 Pro, all of your library and your stats and your trophies from your regular PS4 to this very easily. It's going to be $399, which is only $100 more than a regular PS4. It's coming out November 10th. And they're also going to be doing a Netflix app that's supposed to have like more than 600 titles in 4K. YouTube's supposed to be coming out with an app that's going to be 4K compatible. And they're also going to be having an update come out for PS4, which is going to enable the regular PS4 for a lot of HDR stuff. So I don't know, I'm not really up on the whole 4K game yet. You know, they got the 4K Blu-rays and everything, and I'm somebody where I think that regular Blu-rays look so phenomenal and regular PS4 looks so phenomenal that I'm kind of unconvinced that they can make it look that much better. That makes me want to go out and buy a whole new TV, a whole new system, a whole new Blu-ray collection. So like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe those of you who do have a 4K, it's night and day. But to me, I'm not quite on the 4K game yet. Ps4 Slim, which we've already known about this, but you know, the lighter, smaller, more energy efficient of the PS4 is also going to be coming out September 15th, so a little bit earlier, and it's going to be $299. So if you don't own a PS4, that's a pretty damn good deal for a more energy efficient version of the system that we already have, because PS4 is a phenomenal system. They also announced that PlayStation VR is going to be coming bundled with 8 little mini games. So very similar to the demo discs that came out with like PlayStation 1 and stuff like that. PlayStation VR is going to have a standalone game that comes with a bundle, but it's also going to have a little demo disc. Basically just like a little thing to kind of give you an idea of how things are going to work. So you're going to have like a Drive Club game, VR Worlds, Rigs, which is like a mech-based sci-fi sports, Tumble VR, Battlezone, which is like a little low poly tank combat, Eve, Valkyrie, Wayward Sky, and Headmaster. So who knows how entertaining these games are going to be. It's probably just going to show the capabilities of the VR, but that is nice that you get something else for your hard-earned money. They also announced, which I don't have the price in front, I think it was $150, like a platinum headset. So the gold headset, which a lot of people have, you know, the little wireless headset that you have with, I think it was 5.1 surround. This new platinum one is going to be a little bit sleeker looking. It's going to have a little silver trim on it. It's going to be 7.1 surround, and like I said, $150. Now, like, I have the gold headset. I don't use it very often anymore, but when I do, the sound out of that is phenomenal. So I can only imagine how awesome 7.1 is going to sound, but if you haven't had a headset yet, they do work pretty well. And you got a new one coming out for $150. Episode 5 of Hitman, the episodic series that's been released here and there over the past like 4 or 5 months. For those of you who are not playing it, it's very fun. The only thing, like, I praised the game a lot in the beginning because the beta had me hooked. The first episode when it finally came out, I loved. I played the shit out of it, got all the trophies, got all the challenges. The second episode was kind of like a James Bond episode. I loved even more. I got all the challenges, all the trophies for that one. And episode 3 was a dip. And then episode 4 was kind of like this, if they call it the summer bonus episode, and it was basically just the same thing from episode 3, but just kind of they introduced like these weird storylines. So it's the same setting but different targets, and they have like little props around, like they have a movie set instead of just an open pavilion. So it's basically a rehash. We'll call it what it is. It's a rehash. Now they got this episode coming out. So episode 5 is going to take place in Colorado, and it's going to be released on September 27th. And in this one, it's going to be like a farm compound that's converted into like this military base. And in this episode, you have 4 targets. Up until now, we've only had 2 in each of the episodes. Now, I did not know that this season was only going to be 6 episodes. And I also did not know, once I read that summer bonus episode that I was just kind of trashing is one of those episodes. So this is the second to last episode of this series. And now my praise is going to kind of start to run down, because one thing that I have criticized with this series so far of Hitman, even though the gameplay is phenomenal and it's a lot of fun, I've been praising the episodic series because it gives you a chance to really hone in on one level and find all the secrets and focus on one target and find all the different challenges before moving on to another one, which you don't get for like a month. Versus if you had all of them, you would probably just, okay, I killed him, I beat the game, and you're done. And you don't really explore what the game is meant to be. But the storyline is garbage. The storyline is incoherent. You can't keep track of what's going on when you only get 3-minute cutscenes every month. And if they only have this episode and one more to go, the story is an absolute throwaway, because there's no way they can wrap up the storyline that they're starting in 2 episodes when you only get maybe 6 minutes more of cutscenes. And I'm a little upset for my money that I only get 6 missions, and one of them was a rehash of one that I already have. So for all intents and purposes, I only get 5 missions. So I'm excited about the Colorado setting, because I'm a little burnt out on the foreign settings of Hitman. They're very cool, but you got to have some big cities in there too. That's part of the fun of Hitman, like the Hitman Blood Money, like the New Orleans level and stuff like that. I like seeing a few American cities thrown in there. And the 4 targets sounds cool because I like a challenge, but you know, like I said, they haven't held up from the first 2 episodes, so I hope this kind of brings it back before the finale. But now I'm a little bit pissed that we're only getting 5 episodes and a bonus episode. So I'll stop ranting on that. But you have episode 5 of Hitman coming out, like I said, September 27th, and it's going to be taking place in Colorado, and it's titled Freedom Fighters. Batman Return to Arkham is finally going to be released. And this is a game that was supposed to come out back in July, but it's been delayed. And I had assumed that it was getting delayed because they got kind of a backlash for their work on the remaster. You know, they released a side-by-side trailer that showed a lot of scenes, like a Hugo Strange's face and Joker's face, and it had like the split screen. You had the PS3 version here, and you had the PS4 version here, so you can compare the graphics. And a lot of people, me included, thought that the majority of what they were changing was making it look worse. That even though the graphics were a little shinier, the textures and everything looked better in the older version. So I had assumed that they delayed the game because they were going to go back and fix it and make it look better. And now it seems to me they're just kind of hiding it, because they released another side-by-side trailer, but they're just focusing on the gameplay scenes. Now the gameplay scenes that they did show do look better. They're brighter, they got more color. You know, Arkham Asylum kind of had this gray hue to it. Arkham City kind of had the same thing. This is much more of a vivid world in this PS4 remaster. But the little tiny scenes that we got to see of the Joker's face and Hugo Strange's face, it still looks really bad. And not that it's going to take you out of the game, not that it's going to make it not worth buying, because a remaster of these 2 games, especially if you haven't played it, is well worth the price of admission. You know, it's probably going to be $60, so both games for $30 each. Arkham Asylum is phenomenal. Arkham City is even better. I'm going to be buying it. I'm going to be playing it. I'm going to try to get all the trophies again. Probably, well, I'm not going to get all the Ridley trophies again, so I take that back. But I'm looking forward to this game, but I think they could have done a better job with some of the textures, with the people's face. But maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe they just don't have a trailer ready for that. But anyway, it's going to be released October 21st finally. So Batman fans, get ready. If you have not played the game, absolutely pre-order it or get it when it comes out, because like I said, phenomenal set of games. Sonic Mania, which I had not heard of, is coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC next year. And this is basically going to be a remix of the first 4 games for the Genesis series. You got Sonic the Hedgehog, then you got 2 and 3, and Sonic and Knuckles. I believe all of those are going to be in there. And what I was reading about this, the video that I saw, it looks like the classic 2D side-scroller Sonic. It looks like nothing has changed. But the description that I was reading was that it's kind of a remix. You might be playing a level from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and 2/3 of the way through the level transitions into something you recognize from Sonic and Knuckles. Now, I grew up on Sonic. First game system I ever owned was the Sega Genesis. I loved Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I loved Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I never actually owned the first one. I loved Sonic and Knuckles. I mean, I played those games over and over and over again. I probably beat all of them multiple times. So, just like I was saying with the Batman Remastered, just being able to go back to play games that are great is always fun, especially games that are as old as Sonic. Batman was last generation, so that's not that far out of our memory, but if we can get a really solid, good-looking port of those Sonic the Hedgehog games, and they remix it and make it fun and fresh and a little bit new for us, that's going to be worth the price for me. I love Sonic, the old games, and Sonic needs a little bit of a resurgence because they have not known what to do with that guy in years. So I'm looking forward to that. For the rest of you Genesis fans out there, we got a little bit of Sonic coming back at us with Sonic Mania. Now, that's the end of my news stories, guys, so I'm going to end with a short review of Resident Evil 4, the remastered version. So, kind of got a little bit of a remastered theme this week. Resident Evil games, ever since they announced Resident Evil 7 at E3, they've been releasing Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 backwards in remastered versions for the PS4 and the Xbox One. They had 6, which I hated, so I didn't buy. Then you had 5 a month later, which I did buy, and I haven't played much of because I enjoy that one, but it's kind of middle of the road for me. And I was waiting for Resident Evil 4, and the reason that they flipped it is because they know that that's the kind of, now that they do 6, 5, and 4, the quality is kind of going up as they're releasing it. So they knew everybody would be foaming at the mouth waiting for 4. So 4 was one of my favorite games of all time. I owned it for GameCube, I owned it for PlayStation 2, I bought the remaster for PlayStation 3, and I bought this. And I didn't play very much of the remaster for PlayStation 3 because it just kind of got lost in the mix. But, so I haven't played this game in full since PS2. And I've played a lot of these PS2 ports that they've brought to PS4, and some of them are a lot of fun, some of them are very hard to get back into because the control scheme for PS2 games is they don't age well. And it's hard to get back into those control schemes, and it's very frustrating, even for games that you love, like the Warriors. I love the Warriors, I couldn't wait to play it again, but it was so aggravating trying to get back into the PS2 mindset that I kind of stopped playing it. This game does not have that problem. This game totally holds up. The remaster looks phenomenal. There's a few scenes here and there, very small scenes, like if you hit a switch and it shows a small cutscene of a door opening, those little tiny cutscenes still kind of look like shit, so they didn't put a whole lot of effort into those, but the cutscenes, the long storyline cutscenes, the gameplay, all the characters, all that remaster looks really good. The gameplay transcends time very well. Like I said, it didn't really age that much. This is my favorite of the Resident Evil games, and probably one of my favorite games of all time. So jumping back into this, I felt just like I did when I was playing it on GameCube. Like, holy crap, this game is awesome. I'm almost at the end. I haven't beat it, but I've beat this game probably 6-7 times, so I don't need to beat it to tell you that the story is really cool. It is corny, but that's just something to expect with Resident Evil games. It has some cheese here and there. The control scheme does take about 30 to 40 minutes to get back into it because it is, like I said, some of these things are very jarring for somebody who's used to playing on today's generation's games where it's very fine-tuned, but you get right back into it very quickly and you stay in that mode. It's like riding a bike. The one thing that I do notice now that didn't bother me so much back then is that the little merchant that sells you the guns is annoying as fuck. That guy, you get into the menu of his little thing and he's like, "Oh, stranger, what are you gonna buy?" And every single time you buy something, "Oh, nice purchase," or like, "Oh," he just keeps talking and keeps talking and keeps talking, and you're like, holy fuck, you're trying to get to the menu really quick so he'll stop. So he annoyed me this time around, which he didn't before. That was the only thing that I kind of felt like I needed to mention, and this really makes me excited for the Resident Evil 2 remake that they're supposed to be doing. You know, they had the Resident Evil 1 remake on GameCube, and they remastered it and put it on PS4 last year, I believe. Maybe it was 2 years ago. And that game is phenomenal. That is a very close second behind this Resident Evil 4 for my favorite Resident Evil game. So if they can bring what they brought to that to Resident Evil 2, which is a lot of people's favorites from the Resident Evil series, that game is going to kick ass. So I'm really looking forward to that. Like I talked about in my last episode, I'm kind of looking forward to Resident Evil 7, but I have a lot of questions and a lot of worries about that game that's not being answered yet. So I'm not quite sold on the VR thing. But if you have not played Resident Evil 4, this is $20. It's even cheaper if you have Amazon Prime or if you have like the Best Buy Gamers Club, and you can get it for like $17. But $20 for this game is a steal. Like I said, this game is great. It's one of my favorite games of all time. If you are a fan of Resident Evil 4, maybe you haven't played it since the GameCube or the PS2 days, and you kind of wonder if this is worth playing again, it's absolutely worth picking up and playing again. So if you're a fan of the Resident Evil series, if you're a fan of Resident Evil 4, definitely go out and purchase this. It's an absolute buy. I love getting back into this game. And like I said, the only negative thing I could talk about was that the merchant annoys me this time around. So Resident Evil 4, the remaster, absolutely go out and buy it. Well, that does it for this episode, guys. Like I said, pretty short one, but I did want to talk about the PlayStation conference and all the new hardware that's going to be coming out. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Like I said on the Off the Shelves episode and some of my other shows, if you like these shows, please comment in the section below and let me know. Talk about any of the things that I've talked about, your thoughts on the PS4 Pro or Hitman, what you think about when you're playing it, your own reviews of Resident Evil 4. Just, get a conversation started. I always love talking about this kind of stuff. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. It helps me out a great deal. And I will see you again on the loading screen.